What's going on, guys? Josh. Whoa, I don't know what that was. What's going on, guys? Josh from soccerreviewsforyou.com, bringing you another outlet shopping video. I was recently passing through Oakville, Ontario, Canada, where they have a pretty good sized Nike outlet store. I hadn't been there probably in the last 3 or 4 months, so I figured I would stop in to see what they had. And to my surprise, they actually had a pretty good amount of soccer cleats / football boots. So of course, in today's video, you're gonna get a look at what they had in their inventory. A really interesting selection, I would say. And also, if you guys enjoy the outlet shopping series on my channel, you wanna see it happen as often as it possibly can. Of course, I have to find the stuff to make these videos. If you could support the video with a like, that would be awesome. Please keep in mind that this is a Nike outlet store located in Canada. So of course, all of the prices are listed in Canadian dollars, not US dollars, which is why they might seem a little bit steep. Also keep in mind that I'm gonna tell you the final price of these items after all the extra discounts have been applied, converted to US dollars, because I think that's what more people are familiar with. I think a lot of people get confused when it comes to currency conversion, but basically the way it works is the US dollar is kind of the norm in terms of how a lot of these brands set their retail prices, and then the retail prices for other countries are adjusted based on the strength of the currency at the given time that they create the retail prices. So as of right now, 1 Canadian dollar is worth about 20% less in comparison to 1 US dollar. So just bear that in mind as you're watching the video. I know that might sound a little bit confusing. Rewatch this part if you're confused 2 or 3 times. But again, I'm gonna tell you the final price, which is kind of what's the most important thing, converted to US dollars. So what did I see? I've got it all written down on this paper because I can't remember it on my own. So keep in mind that all of the clearance wall items, which is most of the shoes that I'm going to talk about here, were an extra 20% off, which is a nice little extra discount on some deals that I think the shoes were already marked down pretty heavily. So the first thing that I saw, or first thing that really caught my eye, was the CR7 Chapter 3 Nike Mercurial Vapor 11. This shoe, when it originally came out, I think retailed for $230, $240, I wanna say. I'm not 100% certain on that, but these were on sale, as you guys can see, for $200 Canadian, plus the extra 20%. The final price converted to US dollars ended up being $100. So $100, over 50% off for a CR7 colorway of the Mercurial Vapor 11. Pretty interesting deal there. They also had the Nike Magista Obra 2 in the Floodlights Pack colorway. They only had pretty much 1 pair of these. It's the only pair that I saw. Those were marked down after all of the discounts to about 125 USD, which is a really, really good deal considering that's normally a $300 retail price. So that is over 50% off as well. Then they had 2 colorways of the original Nike Mercurial X Proximo, so the Superfly 4 indoor model, in colorways that, again, I was not expecting to see these at all. So they had the Safari colorway as well as the Distressed Indigo colorway, which are 2 of the better ones, I would say, for the most part. Those were $100 with the extra discounts and then converted to US dollars. They were about 62 bucks for either of those 2 shoes. And the Safari ones they had in most sizes. The Distressed Indigo pair, I think they only had 1 size, but still 62 bucks for those is a pretty good deal considering the original retail price. I want to say it was 150 bucks on those guys. So that is what? 2/3 off almost. That's a pretty good deal. They also had the Nike Magista Opus 2, also in the Floodlights Pack colorway. Those were marked down after all the discounts to about $88 US, which is a really good deal as well. That is also over 50% off. So actually, now that I'm looking back at these are much better prices than I was initially, I guess, expecting them to be. Anyways, the Nike Magista X Proximo indoors in the Electro Flare Pack colorway. So this is the Magista Obra 1 indoor model. Also, again, kind of an older thing. You wouldn't necessarily expect to see this at this point in time. You'd think they'd be sold out at this point. But with the extra discounts, converted to US dollars, they ended up being $50 US, which is a really, really good deal. Again, considering that's normally a $150 retail indoor shoe. So that's $100 off a $150 shoe. That's pretty much as cheap as I think you could expect to find something like that. They also had, these were not on the clearance wall, so there was no extra discount on these items. The Nike Mercurial Vapor 11 in the Floodlights Pack colorway. They had pretty much every single size of this. This was, of course, listed as $200 Canadian, which converted to US dollars about 157 bucks, which is quite honestly not the greatest deal in the world. I think retail on a pair of Vapor 11s is about $230. So 157, that's some discount, but it's nothing that's, I would say, is overly outrageous. But again, they had every single size. So as they start to sell more and more, those will probably end up on the clearance wall at some point in time. They also had the Nike Hypervenom Felon 3 Indoor in the fairly recent Motion Blur Pack colorway. Those were marked down to $80 Canadian, which converted to US dollars is about 62 bucks. So that's a decent deal overall for, I think, what is a pretty solid pair of indoor shoes. The Felon 3 upper is pretty decent. They also had the Magista X Finale 2 indoor in the Dark Lightning Pack colorway, which is actually a really cool colorway in my opinion. Those were $90 Canadian, which converted to US dollars is about 70 bucks. So not an exceptional deal there. The normal retail price on that shoe would be at $100, $30 off the normal retail price. Again, nothing crazy, but some kind of savings is better than nothing, I would say. And then finally, they had the Superfly 5 sneaker, which is officially called the Zoom Mercurial 11 Flyknit, in pretty much solid red with a white midsole. Honestly, not too crazy about the colorway if I'm completely honest, but they do have a pretty steep retail price, around $200, $180 I want to say. Anyways, those were marked down. Those were an extra 20% off because they were on the clearance wall as well. After all the discounts converted to US dollars, 62 bucks for those. So that is pretty cheap, all things considered. All right, guys, that is it for this Nike outlet shopping video. I'm really glad you guys are enjoying this series because it's giving me some really good excuses to head over to the Nike and Adidas outlets more often than I otherwise would. I walk into these places knowing that I really don't need anything, and quite often I end up leaving without buying anything at all, but I still really like to go and look because with any kind of outlet store, you never know what you're gonna find, which I think is kind of what makes these videos so interesting for myself as well as for you guys watching. So again, if you enjoy this series, be sure to support the video with a like. That would be awesome if you could do that. If you have any questions for me, as always, leave them down below in the comment section. I'll definitely get an answer out to you. Subscribe if you haven't already for daily videos on all the latest and greatest soccer gear. You can find all my social media information linked down below in the description as well. Other than that, guys, hope you enjoyed today's video. And as always, thanks for watching.